Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is Explanation of Battle Through the Heavens episode number 194 based on novel. So let's start. Have the Flower Sect and Burning Flame Valley agreed to the alliance? Xiao Yang listened to a report from the two elders in front of him within the main hall of the Falling Star Pavilion. He suddenly stood up. His face was filled with joy. Ha ha, the Flower Sect and the Burning Flame Valley have both given us a clear reply. They are waiting for the junior pavilion chief to decide when to announce this news. A Falling Star Pavilion elder smiled as he replied. Xiao Yang, Kaylin, and the rest sighed in relief after hearing these words. Things were always difficult at the start. With this good beginning, it would be much easier to deal with the subsequent matters. The Flower Sect and the Burning Flame Valley possessed a strong reputation within the Central Plains. Their participation would undoubtedly increase the reputation of the alliance, far surpassing the reputation of the Profound River Alliance when it had been formed back then. The smooth progress of this alliance has somewhat exceeded my expectations. Yarrow Larrow fondled his beard and laughed. After all, the Hall of Souls was not an ordinary faction. Opposing them would require a lot of courage. In that case, when will we meet the two sects to discuss the details of the alliance? Kaylin asked. There is no need to hurry. Although the Flower Sect and the Burning Flame Valley have agreed to join, it is still not enough. If we wish to fight the Hall of Souls, we definitely need to rope the Pill Tower in. Otherwise, it will be quite difficult. Yarrow Larrow slowly shook his head as he explained the situation. Xiao Yang slightly nodded. The joy in his heart was gradually diminished. He also understood that the most important of the three large factions was the Pill Tower. This faction possessed the ability to summon experts across the Central Plains. If they joined, the alliance's reputation would soar to an unbelievable high. At that time, they would not be inferior to the Hall of Souls even when it came to a head-on clash. However, Xiao Yang was aware that it would not be easy to get the Pill Tower to join the alliance. The Pill Tower had always maintained a neutral stance. It had never joined any camp ever since it had been founded. Even though these people hated the Hall of Souls to their very bones, the chances of success in convincing them to join the alliance were not very high. Shall we send a letter as a probe? The little fairy doctor suggested. Yarrow Larrow shook his head. He said, this must not be done recklessly. If we wish to convince them to join the alliance, it is likely that I must personally visit the Pill Tower with Xiao Yang. The result of sending anyone else will definitely end the same. Aye. Xiao Yang nodded. The Pill Tower was not like the Flower Sect and the Burning Flame Valley. They needed to head over personally if they wished to form this alliance. So it's like this, it's just as well. I will take care of the Falling Star Pavilion. The matters over this period of time have mostly been settled. There will likely not be any more trouble. When are the both of you leaving? Kaylin nodded and supported this approach. The final decision of the Pill Tower was a critical part of this alliance. They needed to treat it with great care. This matter cannot be delayed. We will leave today. Xiao Yang exchanged glances with Yarrow Larrow and the both of them replied simultaneously. This matter had to be resolved as soon as possible. With the decision made, Xiao Yang and Yarrow Larrow did not delay any longer. The both of them made some preparations before hurrying to the Pill region. Since the Falling Star Pavilion had just stabilized, only the two of them left on this trip. Kaylin, the little fairy doctor, and the rest remained behind to guard the Falling Star Pavilion. Xiao Yang and Yarrow Larrow could both be considered elite Do Shungs. Their speed was naturally not something an ordinary expert could compare with. They tore through space and traveled to their destination. Under this frightening speed, they had reached the Holy Pill City in the Pill region in half a day. Xiao Yang felt somewhat emotional as he arrived on the outskirts of the Holy Pill City. This place was where he had truly become famous in the Central Plains. During the Pill Gathering, he had relied on himself to turn the tide around and defeat the expert from the Hall of Souls, preventing the champion spot of the Pill Gathering from landing in the hands of someone from the Hall of Souls. Putting it this way, the Pill Tower owed Xiao Yang a favor. After all, if the champion spot had been taken by the Hall of Souls, the reputation of the Pill Tower would have suffered a huge blow. Xiao Yang and Yarrow Larrow did not stop because of the bustling streets after entering the Holy Pill City. Instead, they entered the Pill Tower. Xiao Yang and Yarrow Larrow were seated in a large hall at the top level of the Pill Tower. An elder of the Pill Tower quickly withdrew and informed the three great heads of their arrival. These three fellows seemed to have formed great airs about them now. Yarrow Larrow lifted the teacup beside him, took a sip, and laughed. Both he and Xiao Yang were fatigued after traveling here, but fortunately the both of them were extraordinary. Hence, they were able to endure this fatigue. Xiao Yang smiled. He knew that Yarrow Larrow's relationship with the three heads was quite good, so he did not comment. The silence in the large hall continued for a moment before it was broken by the sound of hurried footsteps. The tightly shut door was pushed open and a loud laugh quickly followed. Ha ha, what a rare guest. Old Yao, it is unexpected that I am able to see you again. The tightly shut door had been opened. A white-robed Shen Kongzi laughed and quickly entered. Tian Leizi and Shen Yu quickly followed him in. Both of their eyes contained some excitement as they looked at Yao Laro in the large hall, who was holding a teacup. It has been a long time since we have last met. How are you? Yao Laro placed his teacup down. He looked at those three and greeted them with a grin. Shen Kongzi and the two behind him quickly walked through the large hall. They arrived in front of Yao Laro and looked at his familiar face. A moment later, Shen Kongzi softly sighed. He patted Yao Laro's shoulder as he said, "It is unexpected that I am still able to see you while we are still alive." The smile on Yao Laro's face became denser after seeing the way they acted. He patted Shen Kongzi's shoulder before his eyes landed on Shen Yi by the side. He laughed. "It has been so many years since we have met, but you are still as beautiful as ever. You don't appear like the few of us old fellows." Shen Yi's face reddened slightly upon hearing this compliment and both of her eyes filled with some moisture. Her little girl-like demeanor caused Xiao Yang to feel speechless. It seemed that this giant head of the pill tower really held some feelings for Yao Laro. Even he had managed to guess this with a glance. The four of them laughed and chatted for a while after they met. Xiao Yang was unable to interrupt. All he could do was helplessly stand by the side and accompany them. "Ha ha, old Yao, you have really accepted a good disciple. He is young but he has already reached the Dosheng class. Moreover, he also values relationships. If any accident were to befall you back then, the old me would really have wished to snatch him." The few of them finally saw Xiao Yang by the side after chatting for a while. Shen Kongzi immediately laughed. "Elder Shen Kongzi, please don't tease this young self." Xiao Yang involuntarily and bitterly laughed before giving a reply. He, I am unworthy of the term elder now. Those who are stronger are the masters. Regardless of whether it is in terms of training do chi or alchemist skills, it is likely that I am unable to compare with you." Shen Kongzi smiled as he responded. He had just luckily advanced to the Ban Sheng class a year ago, but he vaguely felt as though he was facing an endless sea in front of Xiao Yang. He could not even detect Xiao Yang's limit. "All right, you would not visit for no reason. Old Yao, your visit to my pill tower definitely involves some big matters, right?" Shen Kongzi laughed. He changed the conversation as he looked back at Yao Laro. "I." The smile on Yao Laro's face diminished after hearing that they were about to discuss the important matters. He mused for a moment before explaining the matter of the alliance in detail. "Alliance? This matter is a little troublesome. It is not as if you are unaware of how stubborn those old fellows are." Shen Kongzi's group all frowned. Shen Kongzi replied after hearing Yao Laro explain the situation. "I am aware that it is troublesome, but I must give it a try. The Hall of Souls is too powerful. None of our party would be able to fight them alone. If we do not form an alliance, neither one of us will be able to escape the claws of the Hall of Souls. I have been captured by the Hall of Souls before. Hence, I have an idea why they are capturing souls, and it likely involves some brewing schemes," Yao Laro replied in a grave manner. Shen Kongzi slightly nodded. He knew that the Hall of Souls would not capture so many spiritual bodies for no reason, but this news alone was not enough to get those old fellows to break from the norm and join the alliance. This matter would be much easier if the ancestor was still around. Just one word from his elderless self would determine the final answer. Shen Yi frowned and replied. "That old thing has disappeared again?" Yao Laro asked in a startled voice. Shen Kongzi and the other two smiled bitterly and nodded together. Shen Kongzi replied, "He has been missing for a long time. It has been many years since we had heard any word from him. If his spiritual jade token wasn't still perfectly fine, even we would have thought that he had met with some mishap." "Ancestor? What is that?" Xiao Yang by the side asked. He could not resist his curiosity after hearing their conversation. Yao Laro had never mentioned that there was an ancestor inside the pill tower. This ancestor could be considered one of the founders of the pill tower. He is also the most experienced person in the pill tower, and his words would influence any decision. If he agreed to this alliance, there would not be a problem, but if he disagrees, there will not be any hope for this alliance. Shen Kongzi hesitated before replying. However, this ancestor loves to roam and have fun in the world. He disappears all the time. Even the three of us have only met him once during these many years. The thing that the ancestor loves to do most is to find pregnant women. Of course, his target is not these pregnant women, but the baby in their wombs. More accurately speaking, he wants to find incidents where the baby has lost its life before leaving the mother's womb due to an accident. After finding a baby who has died early, he will then enter the body of the pregnant woman using a special method and turn into an ordinary baby. He will be born, grow, and live his life as another person until that body finally dies. Only then will he leave. Using that old fellow's words to describe it, it is experiencing life. Xiao Yang was completely stunned as he stared at Shen Kongzi's bitterly smiling face. He laughed dryly and said, This ancestor is really a very unique human. Additionally, the ancestor is not a human. Xian Kongzi slowly shook his head. He stared at Xiao Yang and softly said, his actual form is a medicinal pill. Not a human? Xiao Yang felt his skin explode apart at this moment. The corner of his mouth twitched. It was a long while later before he suppressed his voice and softly asked, a legendary DI-tier medicinal pill? All medicinal pills that had experienced a 9-colored pill lightning would possess some intelligence, but the medicinal pills were mostly in the form of a beast. Some of the legendary Tier 9 medicinal pills were able to take on a human form, and it was even possible for them to train. However, Xiao Yang had only read about these pills in some ancient books. Haha, a DI-tier medicinal pill was extremely rare even in ancient times. How can anyone refine one now? Xian Kongzi was not surprised to see Xiao Yang's shock. He had also been stunned for a long time before recovering the first time he had heard about the ancestor's actual form. The elder who refined ancestor was one of the founders of the Pill Tower, but that elder has already died. A year before he was about to die, he spent all his effort to refine a medicinal pill. This ancestor had been exhausted when the pill formed and ended up quietly dying. However, a tendril of his spirit entered the Tier 9 medicinal pill in a strange fashion, causing this Tier 9 medicinal pill to undergo a transformation. Subsequently, this medicinal pill turned into a human form that did not leave the Pill Tower. It remained behind as a guardian of the Pill Tower. From a certain point of view, this ancestor could be described as a unique avatar of that elder, but the control of this avatar is rather complicated. Xian Kongzi laughed as he explained. With the flow of time, the ancestor has rescued the Pill Tower from destruction time and time again. In the end, no one could match his status in the Pill Tower, but he was not really interested in this. He would go missing after the Pill Tower stabilized. No one could find him. Xiao Yang wiped his cold sweat off. The origin of this ancestor in the Pill Tower was mysterious. A mutated Tier 9 Shen pill. Xiao Yang was clearly aware of the division of Tier 9 medicinal pills. The 9th tier was separated into 3 grades, Tier 9 treasure pill, Tier 9 Shen pill, and Tier 9 golden pill. The Tier 9 medicinal pills that appeared in this world were mostly treasure pills. One was basically unable to find Shen pills, and the distant Tier 9 golden pills were likely something that only appeared in ancient times. After the Tier 9 golden pill was the legendary DI pill. No one currently living on this continent could refine this medicinal pill. That elder was able to refine a Tier 9 Shen pill and cause it to mutate. It is likely that his strength was, at the very least, a 5 or 6 star Do Sheng. Upon thinking about this, Xiao Yang's heart involuntarily felt shaken by the strength the Pill Tower had once possessed. Forget it, there is no need to discuss the matter related to the ancestor anymore. He has been missing for many years, and there is no telling when he will appear. Perhaps, he is now in the form of a baby doing the so-called experiencing life. Xian Kongzi waved his hand. His tone was helpless because of this legendary ancestor who had been missing for many years. The last time he had met the ancestor was a 17 to 18-year-old youth. There was no way to tell what he had become now. What about the matter of the alliance? The shock in Xiao Yang's heart was gradually withdrawn as he asked. Since the ancestor is not around, all the major matters of the Pill Tower are decided by the main Elder Council of the small Pill Tower by voting. Xian Kongzi replied. It must go through the main Elder Council, In that case, it will be a little troublesome. Most of the old fellows there are pedantic. It will be difficult to get them to vote in support of the alliance. Yarrow Larrow frowned and said. There are a total of 10 seats in the Grand Elder Council. The 3 of us, being the 3 great heads of the Pill Tower, are also inside. Even though this is the case, we only have 3 votes, Shen Yi helplessly explained. Moreover, the remaining 7 old fellows are much more experienced than us. Our words will not have much of an impact on them. Only 3 votes. That is insufficient. Yarrow Larrow shook his head as he replied. Although this main Elder Council was relatively democratic and its decision was dependent on the number of votes for and against a certain decision, some of the old fellows inside were extremely pedantic. Most of them would be against this alliance. As long as there was a difference of a single vote in this main Elder Council, the result would be fixed. No one could modify the decision. It is not as though there is no hope. 2 of the 7 elders have an extremely great enmity with the Hall of Souls. If we can convince them, we will have 5 votes. Hence, we will have an equal number of votes as those other old fellows. Xian Kongzi mused for a moment and explained. Oh, can you be certain about this? Yarrow Larrow's eyes brightened upon hearing this. If it was 5 votes against 5 votes, there was a lot of wiggle room for hope. I cannot be certain, but I can at least give it a try. Why don't you and Xiao Yang follow me into the small Pill Tower? Once I report this matter, those old fellows will definitely be a little shocked. Xian Kongzi laughed. All right. It has been many years since I have entered that place. Yarrow Larrow hesitated for a moment before nodding. He looked at Xiao Yang and laughed. Those who have gathered are all alchemist gurus who once possessed an extremely well-known reputation across the Central Plains. You are lucky to be able to enter. It will be an eye-opener. Ha ha, with Xiao Yang's current abilities, he will probably be opening those old fellows' eyes. Shen Yi laughed. Shen Kongzi smiled and stood up. He walked to the end of the large hall before pressing his hand against a smooth jade-like wall. A ripple spread from his palm, and everyone saw the wall began to swiftly wiggle. In the blink of an eye, the wall had turned into a slowly rotating spatial tunnel. A self-created realm, This small pill tower really exists inside a created realm. Xiao Yang muttered in his heart after seeing this tunnel appear. Let's go. Shen Kongzi smiled after opening the spatial tunnel. After which, he took the lead and walked into the tunnel. Xiao Yang's group followed. The tunnel slowly scattered after the last person entered. After which, it turned back into a hard wall. After traveling a short distance through the spatial tunnel in less than a minute, the light in front of Xiao Yang suddenly brightened. By the time he opened his eyes, he discovered that he was already standing on a towering green mountain. Clouds lingered in the sky, giving the land an extremely misty appearance. What a dense medicinal ingredient scent! Xiao Yang's nose twitched. His eyes swept around, and he was surprised to discover that this entire mountain was filled with many medicinal gardens. Tons of extremely rare medicinal ingredients in the outside world were growing in clusters in these gardens. This is just like a second pill realm. Some surprise flashed across Xiao Yang's eyes as he looked around. These medicinal gardens belong to various owners. They are the new lives of those old fellows, Shen Kongzi smiled. After which, he lifted his foot and walked to the top of the mountain. Xiao Yang's group quickly followed behind him. It was possible to see some elderly figures amid the surrounding lush medicinal sea. These old men might appear like farmers growing medicinal ingredients, but Xiao Yang could sense an extremely powerful spiritual fluctuation coming from each of them. These old medicinal farmers had obtained a high level of attainment in terms of spiritual strength. They did not pay much attention to Xiao Yang's unfamiliar face. Yarrow Larrow by the side attracted many surprised gazes. Some old fellows stepped forward to greet Yarrow Larrow along the way. Clearly, they had been acquainted with Yarrow Larrow in the past. The group passed by a couple of mountain roads before they stopped at the peak of the mountain. Shen Kongzi's group settled Xiao Yang and Yarrow Larrow in a somewhat simple stone house before hurrying away. They were going to report the matter of the alliance. Xiao Yang and Yarrow Larrow were aware that they could not rush this matter. Hence, the both of them sat in the house and rested. They waited for a couple of hours before Shen Kongzi finally returned with the other two in tow. Two pieces of news, one is good and one is bad. Shen Kongzi bitterly laughed after entering the house. He looked at Xiao Yang and said, "The good news is that we are able to gather 5 votes to support it." Xiao Yang and Yarrow Larrow's attention was braced after hearing the good news. 5 votes might not result in a victory, but it at least represented some hope. The bad news is that in 3 days, the main Elder Council will accept a new elder. This new elder will also possess 1 vote. Unfortunately, the one with the greatest chances of entering the main Elder Council is also an extremely pedantic old fellow. You are acquainted with that old fellow. Shen Kongzi's eyes landed on Yarrow Larrow as his words fell. Yarrow Larrow frowned before asking, "Old demon who?" "Aye, it is that old fellow who did not see eye to eye with you." Shen Kongzi helplessly continued, "Whether it is from his pedantic views or some other reason, he will definitely vote against the alliance if he becomes the new elder. You had stepped on him during the pill gathering back then. This old fellow has been extremely displeased for many years. If you had not left the small pill tower back then, you would have long since become an elder of the main Elder Council. We would not need to feel such a headache over this matter now." Shen Yi glanced at Yarrow Larrow and spoke in a faint voice. Yarrow Larrow could only bitterly smile when he heard these words. "What should we do now? If that old fellow really votes against the alliance, there is no hope for the alliance." Tian Leizi asked in a deep voice. Shen Kongzi and Yarrow Larrow became quiet after hearing him speak. "It is not totally hopeless. Won't everything be fine if we don't allow that old demon who to become a new elder?" Shen Yi suggested. "That is easy to say but difficult to do. Who in the Pill Tower Mountain can compete with old demon who? Old Yarrow might be able to, but he withdrew from the Pill Tower on his own accord back then. According to the rules, he does not possess the qualification to compete." Shen Kongzi shook his head as he spoke. Shen Yi parted a lock of hair from her forehead and smiled a strange smile. Her eyes shifted to Xiao Yang. Old Yarrow do not have the qualification to compete, but Xiao Yang does. He is the pill-gathering champion and a potential successor to be the giant head of the Pill Tower. This status does give him the qualification to compete. It will just depend on whether he will be able to defeat old demon who. After all, that old fellow was someone who nearly took the pill-gathering champion spot from Yarrow Chen back then. Xiao Yang. Xian Kongzi and the rest were slightly startled after hearing Shen Yi's words. They mused for a moment before nodding. Xian Kongzi said, although old demon whose seniority far surpasses Xiao Yang might be able to compete with this old fellow with his current abilities. Yarrow Larrow nodded and laughed. All right. Let Xiao Yang compete with that old fellow. I'll let that old demon know that not only can I, Yarrow Chen, defeat him, even the disciple I groomed can defeat him. If that is really the case, it is likely that old demon whose face would turn green. Tian Leizi loudly laughed. Xiao Yang was speechless when he heard these four people decide that he should compete after a couple of sentences, but he was also clearly aware that this matter would determine the success of the alliance. Hence, he did not object to the competition. With his current alchemist skill, he would not feel the slightest fear even when dealing with those extremely old demons. How many colors can a pill lightning from a medicinal pill refined by that old demon possess? Xiao Yang mused for a moment and asked. He naturally needed to be aware of his opponent. It has been many years since I have seen that old demon go all out. The last time I saw him refine a pill with all his strength should have been 2 decades ago. At that time, he had successfully attracted an 8-colored pill lightning. He will probably be able to attract a 9-colored pill lightning now. Xian Kongzi thought for a moment before speaking. 9-colored pill lightning, This person was indeed worthy of being someone who had competed with Yarrow Larrow to be the champion of the pill gathering. Such alchemy skill could be considered top-notch across the Central Plains. That old fellow has progressed very quickly during these years. In order to beat him, Xiao Yang must refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill? Yarrow Larrow frowned. A Tier 9 medicinal pill, even if it was the lowest grade, a Tier 9 treasure pill was somewhat troublesome for Yarrow Larrow to refine. Xiao Yang might be powerful, but when it came to pill refinement, one relied on accumulated experience. That old demon had been totally immersed in pill refinement for many years. His experience was many times that of Xiao Yang. Xian Kongzi and the 2 others nodded. Their eyes swung to Xiao Yang as Xian Kongzi asked, "Are you confident?" A Tier 9 medicinal pill, Xiao Yang gently rubbed his finger and softly replied, "I can give it a try." Although Xiao Yang had never refined a Tier 9 medicinal pill, his current strength had soared, and his spiritual strength had improved by leaps and bounds during his 2-year retreat. He had already stepped into the heavenly state from the soul state. He was not any weaker than Yarrow Larrow and the others from the older generation. Xian Kongzi's group sighed in relief after hearing Xiao Yang's words. They immediately said, "Let's do this. We will find a way to allow Xiao Yang to join the competition. It will not be much trouble with his pill-gathering champion qualification." Yarrow Larrow and Xiao Yang nodded. The 2 of you should stay here for these next 3 days. The environment of this place is extremely suitable for alchemists. Xian Kongzi stood up. He laughed before leaving with Shen Yi and Tian Leizi. They still needed to call in some favors to get Xiao Yang to join the elder selection. After all, it would be a little troublesome to suddenly include another person. Xiao Yang and Yarrow Larrow temporarily resided in the Pill Tower Mountain during the subsequent 3 days. Many older generation alchemists arrived during these 3 days. Of course, they had naturally come because of Yarrow Larrow. Most of the old people here were acquainted with Yarrow Larrow. They would naturally want to come and visit after having not met for many years. Yarrow Larrow had allowed Xiao Yang to get acquainted with these older generation alchemists who had once been extremely renowned on the Central Plains. These old fellows had made many friends across the Central Plains in the past. One would naturally gain many benefits just by being acquainted with them. Xiao Yang was also clearly aware of Yarrow Larrow's intentions. Hence, he appeared relatively courteous and respectful when meeting these people from the older generation, satisfying those old fellows. After they learned that Xiao Yang's alchemist skills were comparable to Yarrow Larrow, they clearly appeared much warmer to him. No matter where one was, those who possessed strength would have an easy time gaining the acceptance of others. 3 days passed by in a flash because of this relatively lively atmosphere. When the morning light on the 4th day landed on the Pill Tower, this mountain had shed its quietness and became much livelier. There was usually little noise emitted in this small Pill Tower. Everyone just discussed and challenged each other's alchemist skills, or they would manage their own medicinal garden. Their days were ordinary and extremely suitable for those old fellows who were tired of the conflict in the continent. The top of the Pill Tower mountain formed an open ground. Clouds covered the surroundings of this open ground. The thick layer of clouds was like cotton, causing one to feel the impulse of wanting to walk on them. This open ground, which rarely had any visitors, was filled with quite a number of people. Most of them had white hair and appeared extremely old. Any person in this place would be greatly sought after by many factions in the Central Plains. If a sect possessed an alchemist of this level, the benefits it would receive would be incomparable. While the number of scattered people on the open ground gradually increased, Yarrow Laro and Xiao Yang were led over by Shen Kongzi and the rest. Many people quickly gathered after Yarrow Laro appeared. They laughed as they greeted him. From this, one could tell that Yarrow Laro was quite popular within this small pill tower. Yarrow Chen, old thing, are indeed still alive. Yarrow Laro was smiling as he greeted his old friends when a somewhat unfriendly voice was suddenly emitted. Immediately, the crowd parted and formed a path. A small and skinny grey-robed elder slowly walked over. "Ha ha, old demon who? Even you are still alive. How can I leave before you?" Yarrow Laro smiled as he looked at the grey-robed old man and asked a rhetorical question. "This is old demon who, huh?" Xiao Yang's heart shook after hearing Yarrow Laro's form of address. His eyes landed on that grey-robed old man. The old man's size was somewhat similar to his surname, who equals monkey. His elderly face appeared a little old-fashioned and seemed like the face of the living dead. "When you left the small pill tower on your own back then, I thought that you would not have the backbone to return ever again." The grey-robed old man spoke in a faint voice. There was some ridicule in his voice. He had been at odds with Yarrow Laro and had been trying his best to surpass Yarrow Laro even now, but this desire had never been fulfilled. It had become a thorn in his flesh. Yarrow Laro smiled but did not argue. He acted like a nice old person. "I heard that you are planning on taking part in the elder selection. It's just as well. After having not met for many years, it is time for me to see whether or not your alchemist skill has improved." The grey-robed old man frowned and continued after seeing Yarrow Laro ignore him. Yarrow Laro involuntarily smiled after hearing his words. He shook his head and said, "I am not the one participating this time around. If you really insist on competing with me, you should defeat my disciple first. He has coincidentally joined the competition." "Your disciple?" That grey-robed old man turned to Xiao Yang by the side after hearing these words. His expression sank after seeing Xiao Yang's age. He coldly laughed. "This little baby boasts the qualification to participate. Yarrow Chen, even if you wish to use the back door, you should not do it like this, right? This is the small pill tower, not the Central Plains." Some of the elders, who were unaware of the situation, also used strange eyes to look at Xiao Yang. Clearly, they did not understand why he possessed the qualification to participate. Old demon who, Xiao Yang is this pill gathering's champion. Why would he not be qualified? Shen Kongzi glanced at old demon who as he inquired. "Pill gathering champion?" The expression of old demon who altered after hearing this title. Back then, he had lost the champion spot of the pill gathering competition to Yarrow Chen by just a little. This matter had been a thorn in his heart. Unexpectedly, the disciple that Yarrow Chen had taught had also achieved this title. Looks like the quality of the pill gathering was really lacking. Old demon who bitterly remarked. "You are wrong. Xiao Yang refined a 5-colored pill lightning during this pill gathering in order to be victorious. The competition was even more intense than the competition in your time." Xian Yi replied in a faint voice. 5-colored pill lightning? Those surrounding elders revealed surprised faces. At this moment, it might not be difficult for them to refine a medicinal pill of this level, but back when they had participated in the pill gathering, it was already relatively good to be able to refine a medicinal pill that could attract a pill lightning. A 5-colored pill lightning had been relatively distant to them back then. Old demon whose face became even more solemn after hearing this retort. Many soft needles had pricked him until he was quite furious. He felt a little embarrassed as he waved his sleeve and coldly snorted, 5-colored pill lightning? It is nothing here. Since you are not going to participate, allow me to take this elder position. However, since this little fellow is your disciple, this elderless self shall help you teach him. Ha ha, this disciple of mine really doesn't know his limits. Since old demon who intends to teach him, I shall help him thank you first. Yarrow Laro smiled as he replied. Yarrow Chen, I know what you are here for. Once I obtain that elder position, I will definitely get the both of you to return empty-handed. Old demon who could hear the mockery in Yarrow Laro's words. With a cold snort, he waved his sleeve, turned around, and furiously left. Yarrow Laro smiled as studied old demon whose distant back. He softly said, looks like we need to shatter the beautiful dream of this old demon to be an elder. What do you say? Xiao Yang grinned and gently nodded. There is no need to worry, teacher. Light from the bright, Warm sun tore through the layers of clouds and landed on the top of the mountain. An ancient and melodious gong slowly reverberated through this open ground. The top of the mountain became distorted after this gong began to vibrate. 7 elderly figures appeared on a stone stage within the open ground without any forewarning. Many people bowed and greeted these 7 elders after seeing them. They respectfully said, "Greetings to all 7 elders." The main elder council could be considered the highest decision body in the small pill tower. These elders naturally possessed an extremely high status. Moreover, all of them had been selected from the small pill tower and were highly regarded individuals. Hence, many people in the small pill tower respected them. Xiao Yang was mixed in with the crowd. His eyes swept over the 7 elders. After slowly sweeping his gaze over them, he finally paused on 4 individuals. The auras of these 4 individuals appeared exceptionally powerful among those 7 elders, especially the linen-clothed expressionless old man standing at the center. He caused Xiao Yang to throw a sideways glance. 2 middle-level Bansheng, 1 high-level Bansheng, and 1 who has reached the initial level of the 2nd star of the Doshan class. Is this the true strength of the Pill Tower? No wonder it is comparable to the Hall of Souls. Xiao Yang's eyes paused on that linen-clothed old man and quietly sighed in his heart. The foundations of these factions, which had existed for a long time within the Central Plains, was indeed relatively frightening. If one's strength did not reach a certain level, it would be impossible for one to be aware of these extremely secretive existences. That linen-clothed elder is the first elder of the small pill tower. With the exception of the ancestor, he is the most senior person in the small pill tower. Even I will have to greet him as someone from the younger generation. Yarrow Larrow softly explained as he stood beside Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang was quietly speechless after hearing this. Even Yarrow Larrow would have to greet him as someone from the younger generation. The seniority of this first elder was really frightening. The linen-clothed man seemed to have detected Xiao Yang observing him. A pair of eyes as deep as starry space were thrown toward Xiao Yang. A fluctuation immediately flashed across those eyes. Clearly, he had discovered Xiao Yang's true abilities. What a powerful spiritual pressure! Xiao Yang's brows slightly twitched after the first elder glanced over. He could sense an invisible pressure form in the surrounding space. This kind of pressure could not be detected by anyone else. Only the parties involved could sense it. Fortunately, Xiao Yang was very different from his old self. The spiritual pressure of this first elder might pressure him a little, but it could not harm him. His expression did not shift because of the exchange. The chin of the first elder moved slightly in an undetectable manner after noticing Xiao Yang's unchanging expression. His eyes finally slid away. His old but ordinary voice resounded in the ears of everyone present. Today is a rare occasion in our small pill tower, the elder selection. It is not the first time everyone has experienced it. I shall not talk more about the rules involved. You can take any medicinal ingredients from the mountain. Whoever refines the highest tier medicinal pill will naturally be the victor. Everyone, if there are no more inquiries, can those who have obtained the qualification to join the selection please step forward. Although this first elder was extremely old, he did things relatively quickly. Without any unnecessary words, he pointed at the open ground in front of him and gave an order in a faint voice. Understood. Some respectful replies came from around the open ground after hearing the first elder's words. Many figures immediately stepped forward and found their own area to stand within the open ground. I will also head out. Xiao Yang smiled after seeing these people step forward. Do your best. Do not disgrace your teacher's name. Xian Yi grinned and replied. Xiao Yang nodded. After which, he squeezed out from the crowd and found an empty space amidst the many surprised gazes from around him. The appearance of Xiao Yang attracted many pairs of eyes. Most of the old people here lived in seclusion. Hence, they did not know why this young man had suddenly joined the selection. This junior is Xiao Yang. He is Yarrow Chen's disciple and was the champion of the most recent pill gathering. According to the rules, he possesses the qualification to join the elder selection. The first elder swept his eyes around as he explained in a faint voice. So that is why. It is unexpected that the old fellow Yarrow Chen accepted another disciple. However, this elder selection is not an ordinary game. Can it be that Yarrow Chen has purposefully asked this young fellow to join in order to gain some experience? Some private conversations started after the first elder's words sounded. Although the weight of the pill-gathering champion title was quite heavy, it appeared a little insufficient if one wished to rely on this title to compete with the other seniors for the position of an elder. Many people concluded that Yarrow Chen intended to have Xiao Yang gain some experience. Xiao Yang was naturally unconcerned with the thoughts of these people. He shut his eyes and recuperated. After many elderly figures appeared within the spacious open ground, the remaining people slowly withdrew to the edges of the square. Finally, the first elder once again slowly opened his mouth. If everyone is prepared, please begin. The atmosphere within the open ground immediately became tense after hearing the first elder's words. Everyone's expressions gradually became grave. A clear metallic sound suddenly appeared in this tense atmosphere. Soon after, another noise appeared. Many medicinal cauldron with extraordinary auras were taken out of storage rings. After which, they heavily landed on the ground. Start the fire. Many cries soon sounded after the cauldrons landed on the ground. Soon after, many different flames that were all quite powerful rose in the medicinal cauldrons. In an instant, the temperature of the entire square rapidly rose. Xiao Yang's expression slowly became grave as he looked at the many medicinal cauldrons around him, but he did not take out a medicinal cauldron. Instead, he extended his right hand and suddenly clenched it. A purple-brown flame that contained hints of a dense white color soon rose from his hand. Bang! This cluster of flames had just appeared when it suddenly swelled. Within a short instant, it began burning above Xiao Yang's head like a cloud of fire. Subsequently, the fire cloud gathered and swiftly formed a purple-brown medicinal cauldron in front of many stunned eyes. The cauldron was completely made out of fire. This is heavenly flame. This young fellow really boasts a powerful control over his flame. However, isn't he afraid of losing control during the refinement after using a heavenly flame to form a cauldron? Xiao Yang's trick immediately attracted many surprised gazes. Many low and deep voices soon conversed. The flame cauldron slowly floated in front of Xiao Yang. Its extremely solid appearance caused many alchemist gurus to reveal grave expressions. Just what kind of a control over a flame and spiritual strength was required in order to control the heavenly flame at this pinnacle level? Old Demon who was a short distance away, was also attracted by the commotion. He knit his brow slightly. A cold laugh immediately sounded. A member of the younger generation was ultimately a member of the younger generation. They always did useless things. Xiao Yang gently flicked his finger as he studied the flame cauldron he had formed. A flame rose within the medicinal cauldron. It emitted a puff and transformed into a fire dragon that wandered around the medicinal cauldron. Xiao Yang did not continue the pill refinement process after forming this medicinal cauldron. Instead, he slowly shut his eyes. Many people were stunned when they saw him shut his eyes, but no one dared to underestimate this extremely young person after the level of skill he had just displayed. I wonder what kind of medicinal pills Xiao Yang is planning to refine this time around. Xian Kongzi looked at Xiao Yang from among the crowd and mused to himself. Xiao Yang has basically learned all that I know. I have never attempted to refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill in the past. Hence, I can only give him 2 types of medicinal formula, Yarrow Larrow softly spoke. The importance of medicinal formulae was obvious after reaching such a level. If one did not possess the medicinal formula of a Tier 9 medicinal pill, it would be impossible to refine a medicinal pill of that level. A Tier 9 medicinal formula was not inferior to a Tian class Qi method or Do skill. Even though Yarrow Larrow had collected formulae for many years, he had only managed to obtain 2 of them. Moreover, they were the lowest grade of a Tier 9 pill, a treasure pill. After Yarrow Larrow had spoken, Xiao Yang suddenly opened both of his eyes. He spread his fingers and an emerald-colored bead appeared between them. Bodhisattva seed. He wishes to refine a bodhisattva pill? Yarrow Larrow's experienced group was aware of Xiao Yang's goal after seeing that emerald bead appear. The highest grade of a bodhisattva pill can at most attract a 9-colored pill lightning. It is a little difficult if he wishes to beat Old Demon who, Shen Yi knit her brows after figuring out what he was going to attempt. It would be a little difficult to obtain victory by simply relying on the bodhisattva seed. Xian Kongzi and Tian Leizi frowned. They had already learned that Xiao Yang was an elite Do Sheng from Yarrow Larrow. Although Xiao Yang did not mention his spiritual state, it was obvious that he had reached the heavenly realm. Therefore, he already possessed the qualification to refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill. They could not understand why Xiao Yang had chosen to refine the bodhisattva pill. He should have his own plans. Yarrow Larrow hesitated for a moment. Based on his trust in Xiao Yang, he did not think that Xiao Yang would underestimate his opponent. Xiao Yang's eyes drifted to Yarrow Larrow's group after he took out the bodhisattva seed. He faintly smiled after seeing their frowns. People may think that his pill refinement experience was inferior to an elder like old demon who, normally speaking, his experiences would be inferior to these old demons, who had trained for hundreds of years. However, Xiao Yang had undergone 100 reincarnations while meditating under the Bodhisattva tree, which brought him numerous benefits. One of those benefits was experience in pill refinement. This video will end here.